First of all, I'd like to thank SpunOut and John Buckley in particular really for inviting me to attend this event and even the privilege to speak at it. First of all, maybe I'll give a background to myself. Obviously, my name is Matthew O'Driscoll, and like the Minister, I didn't really like that photo. It's 2 years ago, a bit too pixely, and my face is already over on this side of the photograph as well. I started really working with Webwise, who were at the time working with the NCT, now the PDST, about 4 years ago. At the time, we were a really small panel, maybe only 6 or 7 of us, and now we've expanded really into about 30. We do a lot of work with young people. It's youth-led, youth-driven, youth-focused. We create resources, we raise awareness, and we cover all kinds of areas of internet safety, ranging from anything to do with privacy to more recently cyberbullying, and even more recently launching our new My Selfie primary school resource only yesterday. Part of my work has given me the privilege to go to the Safer Internet Forum in Brussels in 2012 as a youth panellist, and also returned in 2014 as a youth ambassador, kind of to help coordinate the other youth panellists, which is also where I met John Buckley. But I will also insist that I'm not claiming any kind of expertise. I am just a young person growing up with the internet. I was more fortunate, obviously, maybe some might say I'm more fortunate than others just to get this experience, and I would be one to agree with that. Young people are now using the internet at a much younger age. I got the example about 3 years ago attending an event from a girl from Corla who mentioned the idea of you wouldn't let a mother or father wouldn't let their 5-year-old walk down to the shop. Maybe at 7 they might, or 5 they might hold their hand, 7 they might walk by themselves, and 10 they will actually go by themselves. The same thing is happening with the internet, except there is more that kind of freedom element. People are just logging on online and using what they want. I thought I was cool getting MSN when I was 11 in 5th class, just to chat to my friends. I got Bebo when I was 12, and Bebo has essentially nearly ceased to exist. And at the time I was more interested in who I gave love to or who was in my top 16 than anything to do with safety. I got Facebook when I was 12, which it should have really been 13, but I got it when all my friends were getting it. Twitter when I was 15, and Snapchat only really last year. So I've only really scratched the surface of what young people are really accessing today. Young people could have maybe 2 or 3 times this list now, but they also could have 2 or 3 times this list again in a few years as more and more resources become available. And as well as that, there is this kind of weird element where people younger and younger are accessing these dating apps such as Tinder or Grindr, and I assume the majority of people in this room mightn't even haven't used that. So that's kind of a bit of a shock factor to what is happening online today. Mainly when I was asked really to come here today, I kind of thought about how this resource will actually change things and how it will improve things. And it really got me thinking about what I actually just don't like about the internet, my pet peeves. One of them, I was always really concerned about parents who kind of don't really understand and overreact to certain situations online, where they might see something in the media or hear something from a school, and they'll instantly kind of limit the child's experience, maybe take away the tablet and not allow them to have a Facebook account. And to me, that kind of says, it's like having a cut on your knee and deciding to amputate your whole leg. It's just kind of completely overreacting to the whole situation and really causing a bigger problem in the end. I think it's really a buzzword, but trust really comes into that kind of area, and how the lack of information is creating this boundary, which hopefully this now resource will start to really kind of reduce that gap and eventually make it non-existent at all. My other thing would be that the majority of young people are either arrogant or clueless. They either think they know too much, or that they actually just don't know a lot about anything at all about internet safety in general, or even using the internet effectively. Dr. Brian O'Neill from the IT launched a report yesterday, and the headline of the papers even said that young people have a low digital literacy skill, but they have really high confidence, which also screams to me like not being a pilot and just suddenly flying a plane. It's a disaster waiting to happen, really. We don't have this ability. You shouldn't be able to just jump up online and suddenly just do whatever you want online. There should be this kind of basic level, which now, at least if there is questions remaining unanswered, but these questions will be answered by this resource, but also that it's a kind of preventative action, so that if people do read this resource and use this resource, that there won't be any problems in the future. And I think one of the other pet peeves was the fact that we actually need this resource, that people also must feel the need to create this resource because young people don't have this information readily available. This information, as Twitter said, is available online, but maybe it's just the fact that either young people aren't looking hard enough or they're not looking in the right places. So maybe now there's just a good resource now where everything is in the one place. So while young people are confident, many questions do remain unanswered. As I said, this resource will answer these questions and it'll advise on issues maybe that they're not even comfortable talking with a parent or a guardian about. Maybe they're uncomfortable with it, maybe they don't want to tell their parents they're on Tinder or they're on Grindr, but they might be having a problem with it. So maybe this can start to address those problems. It's a tremendous resource, but also I think not just for young people. Teachers in the room or even guidance counsellors in the room, like teachers and guidance counsellors might know Facebook, might know Twitter, might know how to advise on that, but they mightn't be too familiar with dating apps or gaming apps or WhatsApp because they don't have it. But now they will at least be able to advise, they'll be able to give the advice to go and look at this information. Well, I'll try and keep it short and sweet now by just concluding on it's great to have these written resources available to young people, but I think the resources are nearly useless without a bit of a change in attitude. Minister Fitzgerald last year, or 2 years ago I think it was, mentioned at one of our events that problems to do with the internet are normally caused by cruelty and not the conduit. So that meaning that we ourselves are creating the problems. It's not the website's problem, or it's not the website creating these problems or allowing these problems to happen, it's that we are creating them. And I think this resource by itself won't be able to change anything, but as long as we use this resource and kind of apply it to our daily lives or to anyone in particular, that then we shall actually be able to actively get some change in these problems to do with online safety. Thanks very much.